Hey guys, Mark McIlyar with Live Anabolic, and as you can see, I'm at the gym. Today, we're going to focus on substitute exercises for all of you guys with bad joints, especially us older guys. So if you got bad shoulders, a bad back, bad knees, bad elbows, whatever, I'm going to give you some suggestions on exercises to do for you guys with bad joints or maybe even just temporary tendonitis. That's something I have to deal with on a regular basis. So there's lots of different exercises that you guys can't do because of pain or old injuries. And hopefully I'm going to give you some examples of some substitute exercises you can do instead in today's video. Okay, so guys, this is the most common thing I'm asked all the time on YouTube and in our Facebook group, and that is, what can I do instead of all these different cardio exercises because my knees are bad? I can't do jumping jacks. I can't do sprinting. I can't do ski jumps. I can't do jogging in place. I can't do whatever because my knees are bad. And I still want to get in, some cardio. So the gym is a fantastic place to do substitute exercises to really focus on cardio without hurting your knees. And this is great for you guys that have either kind of temporary knee injuries or just kind of the old man bad knee scenario. So let me step you through a bunch of different exercises that I do here at the gym if my knees happen to be kind of flaring up and bugging me. All right, this is fantastic, guys, and this is the king of all cardio exercises for guys with bad knees. Now, I realize I'm pumping my legs now, but for most guys, even guys with bad knees, this doesn't put enough stress on your knees to actually cause any pain. And, I realize this is a big, expensive stationary bike, but anybody can buy a cheapy, inexpensive stationary bike for your home off of Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace or something like that. I mean, talking about cheap. It doesn't have to be fancy like this. And at the gym, there's different kinds of stationary bikes. So I'm on a recumbent bike, which I actually like because my big fat butt doesn't like sitting on one of those little tiny seats. Doesn't matter that one's not really better than the other, but this is the first of several cardio exercises you guys can do with bad knees. All right, example number 2 for guys with bad knees, and here I am on the treadmill. Now, experiment, guys. I've got this thing with the incline set to the maximum position. I think it's at 19.5, 20 degrees, whatever. So I feel like I'm really walking up a steep incline. Everybody's got different problems with their knees. A lot of times you'll find if you're just walking up a hill, that it actually puts less strain on your knees and it doesn't feel as bad. So you can do a real slow kind of uphill walk like this, or if you prefer, set the incline down to more of a level stance and then just do a fast walk. You don't have to get completely out of breath. Walking is really good for you guys, especially guys that live in areas where you got a lot of bad weather and you can't go outside and walk 3 or 4 miles. This may be boring, but the weather's always great inside. And you can put on some headphones and just listen to a podcast or watch a YouTube video. I find that makes time go incredibly fast. All right, guys, exercise number 3 for men with bad knees. Here we go. If you've never done this, guys, you're going to be blown away by how hard it gets you as far as cardio. And you can go as slow or as fast as you want, but man, it puts no stress on my knees. I realize I'm bending my knees here, but when I'm moving forward, I have 0 weight on my knees. You're not even putting hardly any stress. All right, so this is great for cardio because you're working tons of different muscles. And just about 5 minutes on this, at least to me, feels like about 10 minutes of jogging on a treadmill. So I realize these things are expensive, so you may not be able to afford one at home, but most gyms will have a really nice rower. Give it a try. All right, guys. The fourth exercise is an elliptical. These are expensive exercises also, at least when it comes to, trying to buy a piece of equipment like this for your home. It's not practical. But every gym is going to have a lot of these machines. Zero stress on your knees, plenty of cardio. You can push it as hard as you want. You can increase the resistance or the incline, and you can actually turn this into like an all-out hardcore sprinting exercise if you really want to. I've done that before, where I'll really increase the resistance and I'll go as hard and fast as I can for about 30 seconds, and then I'll rest for 30 seconds, and then I'll do it all over again. I'll repeat over and over. So, perfect way to get in fantastic cardio with no stress on your knees. All right, guess where I am now? The Stairmaster, the dreaded Stairmaster. This is just great for your entire lower body, period. Now, some guys with bad knees won't be able to do this because just this motion and putting all your weight on one knee at a time might be too much for you. It just depends on the severity of your arthritis or your old injury, but give it a try, guys. This is another one that I like doing because I get bored doing just one of those cardio exercises for 30 or 40 minutes. I like to kind of mix it up and do 5 or 10 minutes on each machine and just kind of move it around. That way I don't get so bored, but this is a killer. You can tell I'm out of breath. And if it doesn't hurt, all right, absolutely force yourself to do it. You'll thank me later. All right, so 5 different machines here at the gym for guys with bad knees. And the 6th one, you got to do outside. And it's not going to be easy for a lot of guys, but find a steep hill and run up the hill, walk back down it, and then run up it again. I used to have to do that a lot when I had tendonitis in my knees. And running up a steep hill, I would actually do sprints up this really steep hill. It was only about a 30 or 40 yard sprint, but I mean, it was steep, and it just killed me from a cardio perspective, but it didn't bother my knees at all. And I mean, my knees were really hurting at the time. Oh my gosh, give it a try, guys. If you like getting outside and running, but you can't because of your knees, find a hill, the steeper the bigger, and try to run sprints up that hill, but don't run down. You'll find out if you try how much that hurts. All right, so I'm sticking to the bad knees problem, right? So I addressed the cardio things that guys can't do because of their knees, but what about the resistance training exercises you can't do because of your bad knees? You can't do things like squats or lunges or Bulgarian split squats or something like that. Well, I'm going to give you a few exercises to try at the gym. First one being the leg press machine, okay? Now, I realize you may have bad knees. Please give this a try, all right? And I'm going to explain why. First of all, you get fantastic support with your upper, as far as your back is concerned. And then secondly, you don't have to lift your entire body weight. You can pick a light weight on the stack here and just experiment and see what your knees like, what you can handle, okay, guys? So you may not have been able to do a squat for the last 20 years because of some kind of serious knee problem, but you also might be 50 pounds overweight. Well, now I'm not lifting my entire body weight, all right, and all that extra fat that I might be needing to lose. I'm only lifting the amount that I've selected on the weight stack here, and this might be, 1/4 of your body weight, right? So if it's real easy on your knees at the top here, okay, but then all of a sudden your knees start hurting down here at the bottom, the full range, just don't go this deep, all right? Just do the partial range of motion here and listen to your body, i.e. when do your knees start hurting, and just stop there. And then you can experiment with how much weight and how many reps to do. All right, here's another leg exercise I think a lot of guys with bad knees can do, and that is this prone leg curl machine. So if your knees are bad, this should actually help strengthen your knee joint without putting much stress on the joint itself, okay? Because I'm really just working my hamstrings here, no quads. Now, I realize my knee's bending, but I think most guys can handle that movement, okay? Even if you got an old injury, all right? Now, there's two types of leg curl machines that I want you to try and experiment with. This is the prone one, and then there's a seated machine, so follow me over there. Okay, here we are, guys. I'm still hitting my hamstrings, okay? But this is a seated leg curl machine. Realize it works the same muscle group as that prone curl machine, but it may affect your injury or your arthritis differently. So just because one machine hurts your knees doesn't mean you should give up altogether. Experiment and see what works for you, because everybody watching right now with bad knees is going to have a completely different problem. And some of these machines are going to work fantastic for some guys, but not for others. All right, guys, leg extensions. Now, this one I think is going to be the most difficult one to do for guys with bad knees, but you won't know until you try it, okay? So, doing squats, you know, you have to lift your entire body weight. Plus, if you have a bar on your back, that's included too. So, this machine allows you, once again, to select a really, really light weight, and it may be so light that it doesn't hurt your old injury or your arthritis, all right? Listen to your body, but do what you can, because if you can do this machine, even though you can't do a full body weight squat, you're still working your quad muscles and you're building the overall strength around the knee joint. And so you never know, you might do this for several months, all right? And then find out later that your knees have actually improved, only because you're finally doing something to strengthen your leg muscles when you thought you couldn't do anything. All right, guys, here we are on the hip thrust machine. This has become a really popular machine in the last, I don't know, 5 or 6 years. And almost every gym has, you know, one variation of this machine or another. And the reason why I think a lot of you guys can do this, even though your knees hurt you, is because all the stress is being put on my quads and my hamstrings and my glutes. And I really don't feel hardly anything, you know, in my knee joint. And so, believe it or not, you're working a lot of different muscles in your lower body here without really affecting your knees at all. At least give it a try. All right, guys, another exercise you got to try is a Bulgarian deadlift. A lot of people call these stiff-legged deadlifts, but your knees really aren't stiff. Your knees aren't straight. So let me show you how to do this. And no matter how bad your knees are, you should be able to do this exercise. So we're in this position here, and I'm just going to stick my butt out, and then the bar is going to come straight down my thighs and knees and come down as I look forward, and I keep my back straight, and I go as deep as I can, and I just squeeze my glutes and my hamstrings to come back up. So you'll see that, yeah, there's a little bend in my knees, but not a lot, all right? And then back up. So you're not lifting the weight up with your back, you're squeezing your glutes and your hamstrings, and you're lifting the weight with your hams and glutes. This is fantastic, and I promise this won't hurt your knees. All right, so it's time to move on to a different injury or problem, all right? Tired of talking about knees. Let's talk about guys with bad lower backs. That's a biggie. So you guys with bad backs typically can't do squats, at least not a squat with a barbell or any weight on your shoulders. And another exercise you can't do because of bad lower back a lot of times is just bent over rows. Any kind of exercise where you're bent over and you're having to support the weight of your upper body just with your lower back, all right? So I'm gonna give you a few exercises to try to get around that issue. And the first one is, this is a chest supported row machine. There's a lot of different ones. Okay, this one has, you know, weights that you just put on, plate weights. A lot of these machines are with a weight stack where you just put the pin into a different stack, you know, and select your weight that way. But these are great because all of my weight is being supported by this pad right here. So I can put as much weight as I want on these levers. And I mean, I can really go heavy and really, really put a lot of weight on my upper back. Oh, my lats, my rhomboids. Ooh. And I put no stress on my lower back at all. I mean, I could have a blown out disc in my lower back and still do this exercise. All right, guys, this is another exercise most guys with bad back can't do, and that's this seated cable rows. And the reason is I got, of course, all this weight pulling my arms forward, and the only thing keeping me from going is my lower back, right? So if you can't do this exercise, you can do that row, that chest supported rowing exercise I showed you just a minute ago, where you put the plates on the arms. But there's another exercise that works just as good here at the gym. Come on. Another chest supported row exercise. And this one, of course, gives you different places. Put your hands and hold these grips. All right, so even if I have a bad back, man, there's still lots of exercises you can do for your back. Even though basically your lower back is shot, there's lots of ways to get around that problem. All right, let's move on to another problem joint that us old guys have to deal with. It's talking about bad shoulders. A lot of you guys can't do any kind of motion like this where you have to push a weight up above your head, but you can't give up on shoulders altogether, guys. You need to try other exercises to strengthen this really important joint. And one that you should be able to do is a rear delt fly. Now this machine can be used to do chest flies, or in this case, I'm facing the opposite direction and I'm doing rear delt flies. So as you can tell, I'm obviously not lifting my arms up above my head. I'm just working on the rear head of my delt muscle. And remember, your shoulder has got three muscles. It's got the front, the lateral, and the rear. And this one's focusing on the rear. And most guys have got no strength when it comes to the rear part of your delt. And I've talked to several guys who've done this exercise over a period of months, and they've told me that it made their shoulder way better, so much so that they were able to do some real lightweight type stuff over their head. All right, sticking with the old bad shoulder problem, here's another exercise you ought to at least try. And you need to go on the lightest weight possible. You can't do anything except the lightest weight, and that is lateral raises. Now, guys, you don't have to go up real high, okay? This is the starting position, and I want you to bend over just slightly, and you can just come to here, okay? Or come to here if that's as far as your shoulder joint will allow you to go. But this is one thing to try, and I want to show you another exercise. That's another version of the lateral raise, but it uses dumbbells, and it's something you can do at home, okay? And I actually like it better. All right, guys, this is my favorite shoulder exercise, bad shoulders or not. All right, lateral dumbbell raises. You can go real lightweight on these, and you don't have to lift your hands high, okay? You know, for you guys that can't get your arms up above your head, this is a great exercise to at least try, because you could even start from here and only go this high. If that's all your joints will allow you to do, even this, nice and slow with good controlled motion, will give you a fantastic shoulder pump. All right, you ready to move on to a different problem joint? All right, let's talk about our elbows, okay? A lot of guys have got tendonitis in their elbows, or maybe their bicep tendons, and it makes it hard to do biceps or tricep movements, all right? So let me give you a few things to try, all right, that might help. And this is an issue that I've had to deal with for years, and that's bicep tendonitis, okay? The lower part of my bicep tendon, I'll hurt it because I'm doing too heavy a weight, or who knows why, okay? It just happens, I'm getting old. And I will have to start doing these types of curls. So I can still do curls, I can still work my biceps, but I have to go real lightweight, and I have to change the way I grip the dumbbell. So let me show you. All right, so my normal curling technique is to kind of rotate the dumbbells, okay, or pronate them. as I go through the full range of motion. And that really bothered my bicep tendon. Some guys do them just this way and don't rotate. They just keep their palms facing up, and that really, really hurt my bicep tendon. So this is the solution, guys. Just do hammer curls only. And you might have to do this for a month. I mean, I remember having to do hammer curls for 6 months with really, really light weight before things started getting better. All right, and this takes a ton of the unnatural stress, I guess, off my bicep tendon, but you're still working your bicep. Anyway, it feels a ton better for guys with serious problems. Got elbow problems or bicep tendonitis problems? Try this. Now, I realize I'm not holding the bars in a hammer style here, guys. So what I had to do when I was going through this rehab, I went with a really, really lightweight, okay? I mean, maybe a quarter of what I would normally do. I mean, baby weight, okay? So the weight was so light that it wasn't hurting my tendonitis, and I just went real slow, more time under tension, guys. So for some reason, this felt really good. I realized I couldn't do a lot of weight, but I was still getting a good pump in my biceps. I could feel my biceps getting fatigued after doing, 15 or so reps with a super light weight. Let me show you one other exercise. Most gyms have got lots of different ones. I got 3 right here within 1 step of each other. And this allows me, this has got a handle grip here that allows me to hold it in a hammer grip style. So this is just very similar to doing those hammer curls with dumbbells, but I'm doing hammer curls on a preacher bench, all right, with a machine. And just like before, if you got tendonitis in your bicep, guys, please go real lightweight for months and months at a time, and just use super good form. And then I'm telling you, slowly increase the resistance, the weight, but take your time. Take several months, all right, before you start pushing it, guys. And you can listen to your body and feel whether the pain's gone or not. But I was very careful not to ramp back up to my normal weight for at least 3 months after all the pain had gone away. All right. So what about guys with tricep tendonitis or golfer elbow or tennis elbow or something like that, where it hurts to do any kind of tricep or pushing movement? So it could be triceps or maybe even a chest press. That's a pushing movement. Try doing this exercise for your triceps. I'm not going to guarantee it's not going to hurt or solve your problem, but at least experiment, because everybody's got different problems, and that is a reverse grip tricep extension. Okay, so most tricep extensions are where your hands are on top of the bar and you're pushing down like this. If that hurts you, try getting a handle like this and rotating it, okay, and doing a reverse grip, all right, where you're pulling the handle down, but the palm of your hand is facing up, and then your thumb rotates on top of the handle at the bottom of the movement, all right? Everybody's got different injuries, but that's definitely worth a try. All right, and the final exercise of the day is fly machine. There's lots of different fly machines, okay? You can do them with the cables, okay, or a weight stack machine like this. And this is for guys, where I was talking about, you have a elbow problem, all right? So any pushing type exercise hurts your elbow or your tricep tendon. Means you can't do dumbbell presses, you can't do a barbell press, you can't do any kind of a pressing machine, but you still want to work your chest, right? Go to flies, all right? I'm still working my pecs, but there's no pressing movement, all right? So there should be very little, if any, stress on my elbows here, okay? All the resistance is going straight into my chest without really affecting my elbow joint or the tendons around my elbows. So this is a great way to still get in a good chest day even though you might have some really serious pains or temporary injuries in your elbow and all the pressing movements just are hurting you, don't give up. Don't stop doing your chest. Just move to fly only movements. All right, there you go, guys. As we get older, we're all going to experience some kind of joint problem, whether it's arthritis caused or just some kind of an injury or just, I don't know, just the old getting old problem. They just don't feel as good as they used to. They don't work as good as they used to. And sometimes you need workarounds. You need different substitute exercises for things that, you know, your workout plan calls for, you just can't do anymore. So lots of great alternatives here at the gym. I think I gave you roughly 20 different substitution exercises to try, depending on different injuries and different joints. All right. They're all worth a try, guys. Everybody's injuries aren't the same. Everybody's arthritis is definitely not the same. But I promise if you at least push yourself a little bit, get yourself outside of your normal comfort zone, a lot of these exercises can actually make your injuries or your arthritis better over time if you're using lightweight and good form. And then finally, guys, you got to always stick with it and never give up on yourself.